What's going on, everybody? It's Bill Bailey with today's Boondoggle. Deal.
What's that? What?
Usually when you're here, you do the follow-up.
I was going to do it. I was Boondoggle!
There we are.
Boondoggle!
There it is. There it is. It's not the same unless you add that. Whenever
Are we live right now? I mean, are you recording
totally
right now?
Live.
Let me try it again.
Try it again.
Boondoggle!
We're good. Because I'm not going to be able to edit this, so
Okay.
It is how it is.
All right.
But anyway.
Yo, it is how it is, man.
It is how it is, you know. But here we are, back with our good friend RaNae and Flo joining us, and we just felt like getting together on this night before Halloween Eve, this Devil's Night, to share some godly wisdom. You
Amen.
know? We got to counter the darkness in the world right now with some light.
Yeah.
We're going to get into some light tonight.
Yes,
okay.
Right? We are.
Yeah.
We're going to shine the light on the dark.
Some say that we're in the apocalypse, and I think the definition of apocalypse means an unveiling, right?
Yes.
Like people find out shit.
Yes.
You know, awakening.
A great awakening?
A great awakening by chance?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or a great slumber.
I think, and the scary thing is, it's like
it's half and half.
Yeah, we've been in. I think, you know, I mean,
like we were arguing about this earlier. Like we don't think, like Dave from X-22, like, you know, the deep state, you know, and all they're panicking, and the Patriots are in control. And people are waking up, and there's 3 movies playing at the same time.
Yeah, yeah.
God bless. I hope there is. You know,
I
go to the matinee.
I want to be glass half full. I want to, you know, I put my faith and everything in my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, not in any man, not in any president, not in any, you know. But it's just been hard watching all the stuff unveiling in this world and how quick everything is falling apart in our nation right now. Mm-hmm. And it's hard for me to sit back and trust. But I guess that's what faith's all about too. So I don't know.
Remaining positive is kind of difficult because I feel like the highlight of my day is getting up and going to work, because when I go to work, I don't think about all this shit that's going on and then I get off of work, and then this odd anxiety comes over me again because I know I have to go home.
Wow.
And then I'm going to indulge myself in the shit that we listen to, you know what I mean, which manifests more panic or more faith or fear or whatever it may be. You know, and it really, it's difficult because, you know, I'm being a student of history. Let me go back. When I was in maybe the 11th grade, maybe the 12th grade, I was failing English. So my counselor suggested for an English credit, I take a Holocaust class. It was the first class. It was the first Holocaust class in the country. I went to Cleveland Heights High School. Okay. So it was the first Holocaust class. And I think all the other Holocaust class, if they're still doing them, around the country, I have a feeling maybe they've kind of pushed those out and maybe moved it in CRT type stuff. But if these kids all took this Holocaust class, they wouldn't be this stupid.
Yeah, if that was still in force today.
Yes,
right.
And no, there is something I have.
Okay.
I have personal knowledge of. I have a very close confidant who I have known since 2016 and worked professionally with him. And he is a Jewish man who taught me most that I know about the Holocaust. And yesterday he called me an
anti-Semite.
V-A-X-X-er. I
Oh,
won't say the word.
Yeah.
And I said to him, and he said it live. We weren't in a podcast, but we were in a class where he was teaching, and he called me that. And I went I'm raw. I go rogue. And I said, don't you dare call me an anti-VAXX. You call me fact finder, because I am based on the facts and the truth. You can call me anti-death. How about that? You can call me anti-injury. That would be great. But the VAERS report backs me up on that. And then I also sent him a private message, and I said, I just can't believe I'm awakened and mind blown.
And this is in your culture's history
that you taught me.
Yeah.
Right.
How can you not?
That's
see
another
it?
thing. I don't see.
know
we should
why.
be seeing a lot of more Jewish people. We should see the Jewish community, I think, getting more up in arms. And I don't
Then
think
I have
we see
another.
it. Go ahead.
I have another girlfriend.
I don't understand.
I have a lot of friends that are Jewish, and I have another girlfriend. She was calling me, and and I'm telling you, I would pick up the phone. Hello, this is the Holocaust. This is the Holocaust.
Yeah.
How are these people not seeing it?
Yeah.
And I just said to her, I said, honey, they're starting to see it.
Mm-hmm.
And her husband happens to work for the United States government. And she's, she even had a Jewish rabbi. She went to him for their family's mandate exemption.
Oh, religious exemption.
He wasn't going to give it to her.
Wow.
He said that he was going to write a letter saying that her husband should take it.
Wow.
Good Lord.
I'm telling you, there's something really, and I think it's because it's coming from this high authority medical field that they're not questioning it. And because we've advanced so far that it's just so unfathomable that humans have gone so far, 2021 years to get to this point. You would think we would learn from the past by now, and that it wouldn't be repeating itself. And I think that's the web that they're caught in. They're just caught in this. That can't be true, and I'm going to tell you why. Because when you look at this plan that has been thrown onto us called the pandemic, when you really look at, I have seen things, and I'm a strong woman that has faced a lot of hard things in life, very hard things, like my mother's suicide and having to go and clean up the apartment. I'm telling you, there are things that I have seen from what they're instilling that have made me cry my eyes out. And when something is so hard, the easiest thing to do is to deny it.
Right.
And to say you are an anti.
Shut it down. Cognitive dissonance.
He admitted he's not going to take it. Because at that point, I thought he had taken it. I'm like, oh, he's on the wrong team.
Your friend's husband?
No, the guy that called you out in the meeting.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Neil, I want you to finish your thought about the class, though, that you were saying.
What, the Holocaust class?
Yeah, having to take that class.
Well, I mean, my mom was always into history too, so she was always telling me stuff. So when I took the Holocaust class, my counselor said, well, it's an easy class. You should be able to pass it. And I loved it. It was I just got into it every day. It was great. And at the end of the year, it culminated in interviewing a Holocaust survivor.
Wow.
Okay.
So you went out and you would interview a Holocaust survivor. It's and then, it's interesting. You turn on PBS, especially over the past 20 years, and there's always something, these German weapons. German, the Nazis did this and the Nazis did that. And this is probably going to get this video banned, but
don't do it.
During the Holodomor, well, I mean, the greatest mass murderer of the 20th century individually is a Jewish guy. His name is, I just had it the other day.
Like what was serial killer type guy?
Well, he was in charge of the Holodomor.
Okay.
The Ukraine forced starvation.
Okay.
During I think it was 1913 or something like that, or something like that. And
doesn't ring a bell.
Gingrich Yagoda was the guy's name. He killed over 6-7 million Christians in Ukraine. You don't hear about that.
No, you don't. It's like wiped from the history books.
Right. And there's no Hollywood movies about the Bolshevik revolution. Well, there might be, but it's nothing like all the movies about the Nazis. I mean, Hollywood is obsessed with making movies about how bad the Nazis were. And I'm not going to say the Nazis were good or bad, but yet, if you were to ask people in Europe during that time, I would say that they were in more fear of the Bolshevik horde than they were of the Nazis,
which was communist, right?
The communists when they came in. And what a lot of people don't know is that after World War II, the German nation and the German people were decimated. I mean, there was like they killed like 11 million or 12 million Germans. Look at all the German soldiers that the American Allied forces kept out in that open prison, and they all died in this open prison. And as you go along, you find out that the war, like when you look at British history and you hear stuff that Winston Churchill said and Eisenhower, I mean, it was like a pure hatred for the German people.
Yeah.
And so we don't hear about the Holocaust that happened to the German people,
or how Operation Paperclip, when we took all the top Nazi.
Thank you, and scientists, and brought them to where?
Right here.
And Russia. I guess Russia took a few too. I'm not a. But what I should have done? I think the next podcast we do, I'll bring my book by Len Horowitz, Emerging Viruses.
Oh, yeah.
And I think he's becoming more and more in the topic of this discussion. Yeah. And I met him like 20, 30 years ago at these whole life expos that me and my buddy would go to. Yeah. Sometimes we'd have a booth for our water business.
Charmaine talked about it.
And Charmaine, Charmaine knew him too. And I was fortunate enough to give him a ride to his hotel after one.
Oh,
after one of his seminars,
picked his
one
brain
day.
During that
well, that's what this is dovetailing back into what we were talking about before the podcast. Is he explains that like what we were talking about. I mean, all three of us, I can suggest that all three of us were raised in pretty decent homes. We had loving parents. Sure, maybe our parents weren't the best. Yeah. My mom and dad have a few skeletons in their closet. Yeah. I'm sure my son can say that about me too. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean? But we were never raised around psychopaths.
We've never murdered anyone.
We've never hurt anybody. Well, we've never gotten pleasure out of hurting anybody or anything. You know what I mean? Like, I remember when I was a kid and I shot a bird and I got upset. I got sad about it. Never shot another bird. So it's like we're consciously, and what we don't get, like you were saying, RaNae, is that there are people in control that have this agenda and the naive, and so we're caught in this naivety to believe that there can't be anybody on the planet like this.
No, they're not trying to kill us. Our government has our best interests.
Right.
They care about the people.
And so back to our podcast 133, Liquidation of the Nations, when you start understanding that, like how I said, well, it's not a fiat money system, it's a birth certificate money system.
You're right.
Okay. And the birth certificate is a financial instrument of sorts. Yep. It's locked away either at the Treasury or the DTCC or whatever it is, Depository Trust Corporation. And what my understanding is when a U.S. citizen dies or a citizen of another country dies, that birth certificate goes into an escheat position and they cash it out and they use it to pay off creditors or pay their debts or things like that. So you look at the United States, we're in supposedly so much debt. So why don't we do, according to Agenda 2030, get rid of 150 million of us, cash out those birth certificates, and then go back in the black on our accounting and settle with all our international creditors? That's what I see is happening.
That's the missing piece
You're right.
Of the puzzle.
Right.
I didn't even know.
Right. That's what it is.
I knew our
damn
birth
straight.
Certificates. I knew our birth certificates were attached to the money, and that they want to get us on to crypto.
Yeah.
And that's why they want to use human activity to mine this new crypto.
Right.
Which would have to be injected somehow. And how would they have to figure that out?
Well, with that graphene oxide, that just thinking out loud, it probably creates an infrastructure for that type of electrical Wi-Fi monitoring to take place.
And then Facebook releases, hey, by the way, we're starting Metaverse and you can now have your own virtual reality. Yeah. And you're not going to need real reality
into the
anymore.
Matrix.
Right.
I know this tastes like steak that I'm eating, but
well, and then
Play-Doh.
Right, like what we were talking about earlier.
Soylent Green.
The Sims.
Like X22 report said this, and I kind of basically parroted what Dave said on X-22 Report, and he was bringing up this virtual, like, do you guys remember the movie Ready Player One?
That's what I told my brother.
Okay, yeah,
right.
Yeah. Was it Harrison Ford in that one?
No, but it's a pretty recent movie, and basically there's this virtual world, and it's in 2050, and Columbus is the biggest city on the planet because of this company that created this virtual world that everybody on the planet puts on their goggles, and there's special suits that you can buy, and you live your life. You meet your friends in this your friends are people that you know in this virtual world, and you can be anything you want in this virtual world. Like, you can be a centaur, you can be an octopus, you know, you could be Brad Pitt. You can be any
Christie.
You could be Porpoise Christie. And so what Dave led up to is like, okay, so they're going to give all these kids, they're forcing all these shots on these kids. They're probably going to damage these kids. We're probably going to have millions of people that are going to be paralyzed or can't do anything. They're going to be full of depression, and they can't go out and work, and so they're going to be depressed. So hey, the alternative is just put on your goggles, create another reality for yourself, and live the rest of your life on your lazy boy chair, living in this reality, and that way everything will be okay. You know,
it's so disgusting.
Yeah,
real quick,
and I'm going to tell you why, real quick, because think of how gross Mr. Facebook is.
Yeah, it looks like data from the Star Trek
metadata.
His wife was a gift from
China.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Elaborate on what he met her in China?
No, didn't meet her in there. No, here's your gift.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Here, nerd, we'll hook you up.
Is a submissive woman that is not like your women in America that won't let you just do whatever you want to do. It's just like how disgusting did we find out Melinda Gates, right? Like, oh yeah, I want a divorce. Oh, by the way, I let him go see his girlfriend once a year and whatever else he wanted to do, as long as there's money. So these women are enabling these psychopaths to think it's okay to do whatever to women and children.
Yeah.
And men.
I just wanted to ask real quick though, one of the questions I normally ask, like when I'm talking to artists and stuff like that on here, and I ask my random questions at the end, is like, what class do you feel should be mandatory before kids can graduate today? A lot of them talk about economics, because nobody knows the tax system or how to write a checkbook anymore, which I think is very important and I agree with. But how much do you think having that Holocaust class in your youth opened your eyes,
my way of thinking,
changed your way of thinking, and looked at things differently and be able to read between?
Well, that was one part of it. Then I started going to the Jack Smith law classes. And, you know, if you were to tell me 30 years ago, hey, Neil, you're going to take this Jack Smith class and you're going to figure out one of the biggest riddles on the planet, I would say, whatever, dude, you know, because when I first started going to the Jack Smith class, we did a lot of arguing. You know, when I say arguing, we would go into court and when there was somebody that had a court case, you know, we would argue it instead of like trying to just settle and close the account with our birth certificate and go to peace with them, because a court is a bank and all they're trying to do is adjust their books. And then you get into the word guilty, which means to pay. So when people say I'm not guilty, well, then you're already in a dishonor with the court because you don't want to pay them. You don't want to help that court settle and close their accounting. You know what I mean? And so we didn't know all that stuff. So it was a great evolution of 30 years of understanding. You know, at the beginning, it was all like Constitution, like, you know, we were learning about the Constitution, all sorts of stuff like that, and the Bill of Rights. And then it morphed into this whole type of commercial reality, you know, and then creating trusts with people, places, and things that want to try to extract value from
now. It's like forbidden knowledge, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because we're going back. What they have done is taken us back to slavery.
Mental.
Well, we've always been slaves,
in our own heads,
right.
But it's just gone to another level. We went from physical slavery to commercial slavery.
Well, yes and no, because I come from the auto industry.
Okay.
So I'm still a laborer on the line, on the chain link, you know, the chain line. So I worked in the foundry.
Yeah, over there at the cupola.
Old school.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was there a few times.
And the thing that
it's one of the nastiest places in Cleveland, probably.
so these schools, what you have to understand is if it is government ran or getting any government
funding,
not even just government funding, any kind of partnership which puts like a church in the bed with the government where they have a agreement against taxes. Okay, so the average person, the average American is the one that pays the taxes. The corporations have all the write-offs. The corporations have all the, get this grant, get this, get that, all this. We, the people, pay all of this. And when we find out that we have a system that is hurting ourselves and our children, we need to get out of that system. We need to let that system fall, not overthrow it. No, that's what they want. They want you to pick up your gun. They want you to go to charge the Capitol so that they can say, look how
they
bad,
got an excuse
look how bad it was. When George Bush on 9/11 this year, 2021, sat there at the 9/11 memorial.
I know where you're going with
said
this.
That the Capitol riot was, or insurrection, or whatever the heck they wanted to
caused
call
by
it,
these white
was worse than 9/11.
Yeah. Get the hell out.
He just told on himself.
Yeah, he's like, oh, it's worse than what I did.
Yeah.
Wash my hands of that.
He just told on himself. Exactly.
Well, not to get off topic, if we're going to talk about the liquidation of it, regardless, I want to share this with you guys in the virtual audience. The Federal Reserve Bank of Boston has done, and I've told you this before, Billy, I might have mentioned this. The Federal Reserve Bank of Boston put out 2 comic books, the same thing. The first one, it was called Wishes to Rainbows. Okay. And it was, they did it back in the 70s, and then they did it again, I think, in the 80s. They rehashed it, recreated it. And if you want to learn more about it, go to Bix Weir on YouTube. He's a big crypto, gold, silver guy. And he's the one I learned this from, the comic book. Okay. And basically what this comic book describes is a metaphorical, cryptic synopsis of like the petrodollar. And it explains how a fiat money system will go back into a gold-backed system. And it explains that in order to do that, you have to blow up the fiat system so much that it just has to collapse on itself. And that's when we go back. And I think that's part of what's happening
I think
now.
America has to go bankrupt. The U.S. corporation has to go bankrupt. And they are doing a great job. But unfortunately, what we need to wake our Americans up to is that all of this government spending is our money. So just this week, they were considering giving illegal, or not illegal.
Oh yeah, if they're coming in here, illegally. They're
Afghan immigrants that they're bringing.
Oh, the ones they're bringing,
$450,000 a piece. You got 600. They're going to give $500,000 to Afghans who are terrorists. Our money?
Well, if you remember when George Bush landed on that aircraft carrier and he said like the war on terror is over or whatever, and they allowed all these illegal aliens became citizens again. Well, they made money. They got credit. Because when someone becomes a citizen, a birth certificate or some kind of nationalization thing.
I don't care about that.
Right.
I care about right, because they have to replace the birth certificates they killed. That's what they're doing. They have to replace the birth certificates and the revenue and the tax money. But I want to know, when are we going to get our $500,000 check?
Yeah, well, when we claim our birth certificate, right?
You have to state a claim. A lot of people that fail in tax cases, the judge will rule that there's a failure to state a 12B6.
I'm not saying it like that.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, when are our Americans going to realize that that this plan is America last?
Well,
I think a lot of them are, but unfortunately they're just chanting shit at sports events because they're still out there distracting themselves and having a good time and chanting at sports events. But it's like, when are we gonna? I mean, he said they want us to grab our guns and uprise, and we can't do that. But when are people gonna, I mean, I look at France, I look at Italy, I look at all these people against the vaccine passports and mandates and other countries that we used to make fun of because we're America, the leaders, and they're all out there in droves, united, burning the ones that got vaxxed and the ones that aren't, burning their passports because they're united and they know it's wrong and it's illegal. You barely see that here in the United States because everybody's too. I mean, our sign of protest is chanting "Let's go, Brandon" at friggin' sporting events right now. We need to do more.
And the reason B is because since 2008, if not even before, but 2008, they really advanced their dumbing down of America plan, which included the
Charlotte Iserbyt, who is Reagan's. I think I'm pronouncing it the right way, but Ronald Reagan's Department of Education chair has come out and she wrote that book about the dumbing down of America through the education system. It's been happening since Reagan.
Common Core curriculum from 2014 to 2017 showed math and reading skills declined in 4th to 8th grade levels. When you can't read, write, or do math, you're an easy slave.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they're all dependent on these electronics and everything now. I don't know how many times my kids are able to use their phones in class to figure out answers.
We are 100% back into slavery.
And
not that we ever really got out of it.
Yeah, once they wipe out the electronics, this new generation is
Here's
lost.
what they did. They said that everything this government does is all a facade. So they said, I think it was Abraham Lincoln, right? Slavery is over. But really, it never was over. They just changed the terms. Instead of a slave and a master, they have employer and employee. And then they figured out a way. Somebody told me that houses weren't built for people. Actually, Grant Cardone said this. He said, houses weren't built for people. Houses were built for the bank to have a product to loan you money on.
Yeah.
And when you look at, we used to have 30-year mortgages and 30-year pensions. You had to work 30 years to get a pension, and 30 years is your mortgage to pay off their house. Yeah. And that at the end, you should be retired and your house paid off.
Yeah.
With inflation, that'll never happen, right? And now they don't even want you to own a home. True.
You own nothing and like it. Exactly.
Well, what Lincoln did also during that time was the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment. So the 13th Amendment said, nobody can make you a slave coercively, but that doesn't mean you can voluntarily become one.
Right.
And so that's what we've done when we start using the driver's license, which is attached to the birth certificate, and the social security number, which is attached to the birth certificate. When we're using those as identification, we're stating that we're a U.S. citizen, so we have waived our unalienable rights, which are God-given, and stepped into their commercial system, which now we are completely manipulated in it.
Well, I don't believe that I'm still standing on my inalienable rights, and that is winnable in court still.
Good luck. See, here's the thing. If you read the beginning general provisions of the Uniform Commercial Code, it says that rights come from giving value. Okay. All of these Americans are giving value because the value of the birth certificate is based on our intellectual property. You're more valuable the more education you have.
Yes.
So the government is taking funds from your birth certificate and funding black projects, funding oil wells in Iraq, funding F-35 research, building freeways, giving money to the auto companies to make these cars, doing all this stuff. So we're giving all this value, so we have all these rights, and we don't understand that, hey, man, I gave value to the United States. Why do I got to pay this bill? See, in 1933, when they took away the gold, the emergency bankruptcy, right? The Emergency Bankruptcy Act, the Emergency Bankruptcy Act of March 9th, 1933. They they gave everybody a certain time limit to turn in their gold.
Yes.
Okay. Well, they knew the operation that they were doing was fraudulent and treasonous. So they did what's known as House Joint Resolution 192 and Public Law 7310, I think, because they knew that what they were doing was stealing from the American people. They were taking away the money because the Constitution defines what money is, which is certain weights and measures of gold and silver. So they knew that they were taking away our ability to pay a debt. So House Joint Resolution said, okay, since we took away your gold and we knew that was theft, we'll pay your debts. And that was the base, that was the foundation when I paid my credit card off, in a sense, because I gave the.
Are you sovereign?
Well, no. I mean, I don't have my own army. My face isn't on money that's recognized around the world.
No, I'm talking about fixing a birth certificate status.
Oh, you mean going through it? Well, I mean, I've done things in the past, like.
The answer is yes or no. You'd have a different license plate.
I haven't.
I have friends that do.
Okay. Do they know how to enforce it in court?
In Medina, I have. Matter of fact, I was supposed to start going to their meetings.
I would like to attend.
Yeah, I told him about it.
Was that the one that you guys went to?
No. I haven't even gone to this one yet. No, like I have personal friends that have the sovereign license. They don't have an American license. Matter of fact, my court coach,
have they ever gone to court?
A lot of them.
So a lot of these people that have this stuff, they've gone to court.
Different things.
And has the judge recognized that?
They're still free. Yes.
Well, I mean, have they gone to court? Has any of them gone to court?
I know they have, but I can't tell you specifics, and I can't say exactly this, and this. I know they have it's a license that is totally different. It's a license plate. I
have a friend that's had something like that. I also have a friend, Lawrence Williams, that was running our East Side class, where actually he got it recognized from the Bureau of Motor Vehicles, where he created his own insurance with his birth certificate, created a bond from it. And it was actually recognized. He could see it in the back of the police cruiser on their computer.
If you know what I mean? To Americans, they have it right there. Or Anna Von Reitz,
Oh yeah, I know Anna Von Reitz. Yep. It's all I got to say is it's one thing doing something. It's another thing having to enforce it and get them to recognize it.
If we have 80 million do it by 2024, that's my plan.
That might change it, yeah.
That's my plan.
Right.
We have to do something. We have to start fighting this.
Totally like unplugging everything you've been taught.
I know.
Since you were a freaking kid.
Even just going from.
Like I thought, it was a good thing to get my driver's license. My kids just got theirs. Oh, it's a good thing. But now we just set ourselves up as, against this system. How do you're going to get 80 million people to suddenly, know this shit that he's been working on for years?
Well, I mean, it's like therein lies the problem. You get the driver's license, you waive your right of travel.
Yeah.
In exchange for the privilege to drive in commerce.
Yeah.
The word transportation comes from when the English were sending debtors to Australia and forming the debtor prisoner colony. And so if you were in debt in England, your punishment was transportation.
What?
So I find it interesting that we have a Department of Transportation, which bases your right of travel on a privilege.
Not only that, what's that one country they won't let you come if you've ever had debt?
Oh. Switzerland?
I think it is.
Well, I figured it'd be Switzerland. Who the hell wants a debtor in Switzerland?
If you ever had debt, you're not allowed to become a citizen.
Damn.
I want to go move there. At least have my babies there, right?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, but
aren't they one of the ones that just got rid of all the COVID?
There's multiple ones.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them.
India, Japan. Do you know how
Norway?
They did it with this one product. It's something like an IVER.
Yeah. Horses,
Yeah.
How do you like those all algorithms, right? Yeah, that's how they did it.
Yeah.
Imagine withholding a life-saving drug in America,
and how is that not a crime?
And it's not the first time.
It is.
Yeah.
HCQ,
it's because these people are getting off on getting away with murder.
What drives me nuts is like when we go back to like trusting. I mean, how much more is we gonna find out about this doc? You know, that
Fauci, you mean?
Yeah. And you know, I mean, now the latest thing with the beagles and the animals being tortured to death and everything like that. And I mean, the guy's still walking free. We
don't even
and
know.
Our Congress is like, well, it's time for him to go away. It's time for him to go and stand trial.
Yeah.
Be held accountable.
Be held accountable. Show me that our government really cares about the people and hold these criminals accountable. But it's just all smoke and mirrors, man.
No, it's not just all smoke and mirrors.
Okay,
we have to get enough of the truth to enough of the people. Okay. And the truth.
But there's so much information, disinformation, misinformation out there.
The truth has to be bold.
Get the truth.
Like the lion.
Sifted,
so the truth is God. God is for the truth.
All right.
And truth is like the light. What's done in the dark can only be hidden in the dark. When you shine light on it, the darkness is gone. And so we just have to keep using our voices. The first thing they did was put us in masks. Why? What did Dr. Fauci do to the beagles? Cut out their vocal cords.
So you didn't have to hear them. Listen to them screaming.
Same. That's what the mask is. And when you look at history and you study what the United States of America has done to our African American brothers and sisters, slavery, when they came here, they wore masks. They wore masks to show that they were owned by another man and they had no voice. So the mask was for two reasons. One, to get you to not use your voice, to demoralize you, depersonalize you, and for the psychological torture of getting them prepared to be perpetually sick for the rest of their lives. In my freedom fighting meeting that I go to, well, I found another one called We the People, and I went to that on Thursday. This is a bombshell that we're putting on Boondoggle today. There was a parent whose daughter, two of their children really, but the daughter for sure, because they were going after his third one, but they didn't quarantine the third one, but they quarantined two of his children.
Wow.
And he called the state health department and said, first of all, I want proof. They can't even tell me who she was in contact with. They have no proof. I'm not going to just trust their word of mouth that she was in contact with this. Do they have the authority?
And where do they quarantine her? I mean, just
at home.
Okay. So they didn't take her from the home or anything.
Thank God, not yet. But I'm going to show you how this is set up. And then you're going to be like, what? So he called so he calls the school board, right? They say, oh, it's not us. It's this is the health officials, because that's what they're doing. If I can blame you and you blame me, and then nobody blames us, right? And he called them, said, call the state health board. They're the ones that have these recommendations or whatever. And he called them and he asked him, how can you quarantine, house arrest my child? And she goes, well, we really can't. The only way we can do that is
complying.
if it's criminal, a court order, criminal, meaning the example that was given was if you had AIDS or HIV and were purposely having unprotected sex infecting people, that's how we would quarantine, house arrest. So please tell me why Dr. Fauci, who is in charge of the AIDS and HIV pandemic, and we found that it was actually proven, or I don't know if it's exactly proven, but that it was shown that it was the drugs that caused the AIDS and the HIV, and he was in charge of that, and now they have a bigger plan.
Yeah.
And is AIDS and HIV in the
VA XX?
Yes.
Yeah.
We don't know. And I told I actually got in a little spat with someone who was, he actually threatened my life.
Wow.
And my freedom. And I said to him, I go, I wouldn't be talking to me like that if I was just injected with AIDS and I wear it around my on a lanyard around my neck. And he was like, oh my gosh, you know, and I'm like, and then he wanted, you know, someone.
What, there's
she said
there's
that,
lanyards now for
no,
people that have it? Oh,
I went
right.
somewhere and there was a not mentally right, possibly borderline psychopath.
Okay.
Who has his vaccine card on a lanyard that he wears
kind of like a
every day.
backstage pass.
Like a backstage
Look at me.
pass.
Yeah. I did it.
Look at me. Right,
So,
exactly.
Yeah, virtue signaling, not just on social media. But
so it's like, I wouldn't be wearing that on a lanyard. And he was like, I'm like, oh, that one will hit you on the way home, buddy. And he was like, well, she said this.
So anyway, get back to the what happened with what the parent find out about his children.
They can't do that. So he's got this piece of paper. He's taking her. That was Thursday night. He goes, I'm taking her to school on Friday.
Okay.
There's no criminal order.
Yeah.
They are setting this trap up for us.
Well, because most people won't look into it and do the research. They'll just, okay, if they say so.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that goes back to an ancient legal maxim. Let he who will be deceived be deceived.
I like my other new favorite quote. If it can be destroyed with the truth, then it must be destroyed with the truth.
Well, I think, you know, if going back to it, let he who will be deceived, sums it all up right there. I mean, and, you know, it's 1 out of 100 parents will find out what your buddy found out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And 1 in 100 parents will do something like that.
It's not just let them be deceived. Spread the good word. Knowledge is power. Start spreading the knowledge, because the more that we have, that's our problem. That's our downfall right now, is we can't just be like, oh, they're deceived, let them be deceived. No.
That's not what he's saying.
That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's just, we have to spread the knowledge.
He's saying that, he's quoting a history thing that pretty much
it's an ancient maxim of law. Yeah. It's a fundamental truth that has been going on through mankind forever.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not like this is the first time, you know, it's this type of commerce that we're going through over the past 100 years. There's, you know, granted, it's a lot more advanced than like ancient Babylon, but it's still based on similar fundamentals.
Is Dr. Fauci Jewish?
I don't
know. He sounds Italian to me.
Yeah. Now, you know,
you're right.
Kind of want to we were talking about at the beginning the soft apocalypse.
Soft Holocaust. I call it a soft Holocaust because,
soft Holocaust.
You know, it's being done with the media.
Yeah.
And with these injections, and nothing's really being done at gunpoint. And no one's being ushered into cattle cars.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
and not yet.
Not yet. Right.
Right.
So
I mean, the CDC director, what she just say, we're going to have to re-educate these people.
Yeah, and then you look at a movie
these
like
are cowards. I really don't even see them.
You look back in history, like the Aztecs, that movie Apocalypto.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Gibson put that.
And at the end of the movie, you find like they're getting all these people to sacrifice them for the sun god. You know.
Yeah.
And you think back to yourself, man, those people were nuts.
Yeah.
You know, but then I could see like 500, 1,000 years from now, people looking back at this civilization saying, man, they were sacrificing people, you know?
Yeah. I've been to Chichen Itza. I was there. I know, like, I can't believe and that's the whole thing, is because our people can't believe it. And because it is soft. These are cowards.
Well, it's like we were talking about earlier too, is it's like we were raised in loving homes. We can't imagine people being like this, but these people are raised to be psychos from psychos. It's like their family lineage, their bloodline. It's like Vlad the Impaler.
One of the things Len Horowitz would end his discussions or his seminars with was that movie, The Green Mile. Okay. And there's a scene in The Green Mile where the black prisoners telling Tom Hanks that we kill each other out of love. And Len Horowitz related that to, you know, you're a parent, you love your children, you're in fear, and you're none the wiser. So you go get them vaccinated.
Yeah, because you think you're protecting them.
You think you're protecting them, right?
That's like my one friend. He said he had somebody say to him, well, I got it to protect my children. He goes, how are you protecting your children?
Yeah, if you're shedding on them.
How? It's not just shedding. What if... That's the whole point. They're pushing this very hard right now. It's before this very dark winter. You can Google Operation Dark Winter, right? We're about to see this winter a calling that is going to make
the Holocaust look stupid.
Yeah.
Not just the Holocaust look
The Soft
stupid.
Holocaust.
It's going to make a civil war, because I'm going to tell you, it's just like when I told you my brother today, him waking up and realizing, oh, now you are compatible with Facebook's agenda, and Facebook pushed this agenda.
Yeah.
And Facebook is part investor into this agenda through Pfizer.
Yeah. Well,
and Pfizer paid the largest criminal fine in history.
Yeah. Well,
so they found the greatest corrupt criminal who would do it. And then they have their criminal enterprise. Do you know what I just found out this week?
What?
Alec Baldwin starred in a movie called Nuremberg, and it's free on YouTube.
Oh,
they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Okay, these people with this Ready Player One,
Hollywood,
yes.
Predictive program.
This is what they do. They're psychopaths, and they sit around and write movies for their psychopath, so that because the devil has to show you his plans.
Well, that's the way like Jack Smith used to always say that Hollywood's telling you the truth better than your local church. If you can see between the lines, right. They're telling you what's going on, you know,
because the devil has to tell you his plans.
I can't. I mean, it's funny because it's like movies and TV shows are almost like not ruined for me. I mean, I still enjoy them, but it's like I'm trying to explain to people that don't, and they're just trying. Oh, it's just entertainment, I'm like, oh, dude, they're telling you this, and this. It's like I see so much now. I can't even watch it anymore.
Just even watching
that show on Amazon,
the trailer on Utopia.
Yeah.
So now they're all involved. So what do we do? How do we can't just be speaking and spreading the knowledge and saying it's not right and not have a plan. So what we have to do is every single day you hold power, because all these psychopaths care about is money. They have put money and greed and power and all of that above even human basic needs. Human basic what's that word?
Look how much of our basic needs that people depend on are sitting out there in a harbor right now because we're waiting on all that, to come in. How they're going to slowly starve us and stuff too during.
Well, they're trying to, but American made isn't out there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If we would have kept it,
we shouldn't have gotten so dependent on China. And when we stop using services like Amazon, who is mainly 98% China products.
Yeah, or
we're slitting our own throats.
Yeah, and then they get a tax break. Amazon gets a huge tax break to mail everything so cheap that something else we pay for.
It's not even just that. What Amazon did was they knew that when you're rich and powerful, and the U.S. Postal Service is a coward, you can get your way,
and they're helping with fake ballots.
When I go to the post office, I get media discount to mail my book.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I could get the discount too, but the average American has no product service, so they can't, like you said earlier, bring value. They can't go. The average person can't go to the post office and say, "I'm going to send you 30 million orders." Will you cut me a deal?
Right.
Well, yeah, because
I want to mail everything for 5 cents.
Because and the post office is saying absolutely, because so many people are using email now and not sending any mail.
Yeah.
So they had to. You have to understand the corporations and the government versus the people. And your power lies in whatever money you have in your pocket. Who are you going to give it to? Are you giving it to people who support organizations that don't have America's best interest in mind? I've personally had to stop going places that I do enjoy. You know, just today I was like, man, I'd love to just go through the drive-through at McDonald's and get an iced tea for $1.
Or an egg McMuffin with cheese.
And I'm all like, they're putting them ammonia in the meat. Instead, you know, I wanted something to drink.
Soft killing us through the food too.
Yeah.
Go get water. So instead I got a big jug of water where I know I can find it for a good price, right? I used to go to Starbucks every single morning. Now I wasn't a $5 a day girl because I know I'm like, I like nice things and I like to have nice things, but I'm not the red bottom shoe girl. I'm the auto industry girl. Like, no, actually it was so funny. I gotta tell, this is a little quick personal story. I had one girl, was trying to like knock me, you know, and she was all
at Ford?
No, not at Ford.
Just in general.
Just in general. I was out and about and she said something like, your shoes are a knockoff. And I pulled out, I go, no, honey, they're Jessica Simpson. Like, they're just Jessica Simpson. I'm not trying to have red bottoms. You know what I mean? Like, they weren't.
I'm not hip to Jessica Simpson.
And I'm not hip to red bottoms.
So
hip to the red shoes.
Red bottom girl.
Shoes, but that's a whole nother episode.
Red bottom
girls.
Red bottom shoes cost, they're high heeled shoes, and they cost about $1,000.
Oh boy.
And Jessica Simpson.
So that's the name of the brand?
Right.
Red bottom?
No, Louboutin.
Oh, gee whiz. Okay.
Like Givenchy, Prada, like that kind of level. Jessica Simpson, you can get at Macy's. You can get them on sale for $50. They look just as nice, just as sharp. But my point was,
made the same China chop, probably.
She thinks that you're defending me that I don't have name brand. I don't care about name brands, because if name brands don't care about me, just like I needed a new pair of tennis shoes this summer. Guess what? I'm not buying another pair of Nikes.
Yeah.
Never again.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
What are some good American-made sneakers? Are there any out there?
You know, I don't know if there's any American-made sneakers, but I ended up going with a pair of Swiss Clouds because at least I know that Swiss aren't trying to kill us.
You mean like K-Swiss?
I like what
K-Swiss.
No, it's a brand
sneakers?
called Cloud.
Okay.
They're a running shoe that the American, the one Olympics runner, she wore them.
Okay.
They're called Clouds, but they are Swiss made.
Okay.
I'm like, well, the Swiss, they don't like that, and they aren't trying to kill me.
Yeah, right.
They aren't passing this.
What I liked what you said too is just like you're accepting that you're not going to continue to do things you once liked to do.
I gave up Netflix.
I gave up Starbucks.
Yeah.
I gave up.
And I'm trying to, explain that to my daughters because it's like I'm accepting the facts with everything going on. I loved going and hearing live music and going to concerts.
Right.
And I've been in this industry and I've interviewed bands and I've been on guest lists and it was a good time and have a good time. And now it's like you got to go jump through all these hoops, either get the jab or shove a thing up your nose, and it's just like it's not worth it.
But it's not even just that. But when you went, afterwards you were sick for a couple of days. You didn't feel good.
Oh yeah, I mean,
yeah, you were around all those vaxxed people,
right?
And one of my friends who was vaxxed ended up in the hospital. After that, with it again. Yeah,
really?
Yeah.
That is so like
rotten.
It's all right. Let's talk about Trevisano.
Yeah,
for the virtual audience, Trevisano is this guy on what 1100.
Yeah, local
he's a huge talk show guy.
Cleveland.
Yeah.
Name.
Yeah.
Made it big, famous.
Yeah, and if you were to see him personally, you'd think he'd lived under a bridge like a troll, right?
Yeah,
he's not very. He's like face could probably stop. Yeah, forgive me, Trevisano. I'm sorry, but your face could have fucking stopped the freight train. And then we had
face for radio.
Then we had three. We had 3 judges that died recently, Cuyahoga County judges.
Yeah. And
it was all within 9 days after getting their shots.
I have a very high profile friend, dear friend, Dennis Franks, who played for the Philadelphia Eagles and then became a millionaire through shop.com and Market America. And he recently passed, and I don't know if he was or wasn't, but I literally just went just yesterday and I was going through my phone and I went on Telegram to see the last post that I sent him.
What was it? Yeah.
I had screenshot a Facebook status that I had made that says that I want a forensic audit into every death of 2020 and 2021.
Mm-hmm.
It was the last thing I sent to him.
Wow.
I was like, oh my God.
Well,
like I got chills.
We don't know if Trevisano got the shot.
He got the booster. No, he did. Yes, he did.
Was it a booster or his first shot?
He got his booster.
Oh.
Number three.
Where did that information come out from?
It's all over.
It's out there. All right, I haven't looked into it yet. I just
all
heard that he died, and all my sports friends.
Oh, I'll tell you why. Because when I was reading the comments about him dying, they said to him, "I can't believe." They said, "I can't believe he took that." That's the one thing I didn't see eye to eye with him about. That they couldn't believe,
because he was always kind of like got into politics and stuff like that during the show too, and called out a lot of stuff, right?
Yeah.
I never really listened that, so you guys have to explain more about to our audience. Like,
I really believe that is why God took out our previous president. I think God is taking back our nation. Thank God we're going to be one nation under God again after this is all revealed, and after Dark Winter, when they see the results from the Dark Winter, it's just going.
Well, supposedly a CME is going to hit us today or tomorrow.
What's a CME?
Corona mass ejection.
Yeah.
And Forbes, like a solar flare, boom. And those things could take out like grids and stuff like that. And
what if the lights just went out, the speed just cut
Forbes
right now?
magazine,
I'm moving into the basement.
about 50 days ago, Forbes magazine came out with an article talking about there was going to be a huge solar tsunami coming, and it wasn't going to take out the electrical grid. It was going to take out the internet.
Yeah.
So then you know, as information comes out more about the audit,
would it be out for 10 days?
In Minnesota came out and said that, right? Wasn't this
what about
2 days ago?
Wait, what about when Facebook had their big unplug at like October 4th? 8 hours they were down.
Right. And so we're going to start seeing more of this stuff.
I have a friend because I network all over the world, and he lives in Texas. He does like networks. He's worked for Verizon, like where he goes in and he like does their networks and stuff.
Yes.
He literally said to all, because I'm in one of his groups called Ronin, where he's real rogue. He's like ready, he's like got his underground bunker. And he said, I have been to Facebook and seen their server system as a professional, and I am telling you that there is no way that unplug, that 8 hours that they were down, was an accident.
No.
Yeah.
And it was around the time where that so-called whistleblower was out, supposedly.
Yeah.
Well, the rumor is in the Patriot community, as more and more information comes out and they can't stop it, they're going to use like a CME to like say, oh, that's why, Facebook's down, CNN's down, all the media's down, the internet's down. We cannot spread it. You can't get information anymore. You can't get alternative info.
Yeah.
That's what they're trying. Thank God we still have different technologies, right? Also, I heard last night they're doing some kind of, and it's not natural, where they're trying to make this volcano do.
Were you talking about the Canary Island, Cumbre Vieja Island?
And it's supposed to take out our East Coast?
They've been talking about that for a long time.
Or the one in
the Canary Islands.
Oh, okay.
I think
because they've always talked about the great in Idaho.
Yeah. The caldera.
They've always talked about that blowing off and taking out the whole, West Coast or whatever.
Yeah.
And it'd be like a nuclear bomb that we would get fallout over here, even in Ohio. And stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
It'd be like a nuclear winter or something. Could be a dark winter.
Yeah.
It's not could be. This is their plan.
Sure.
The devil tells you his plan. If
I
you
understand.
Go back to debate 1, 2, 3. What did Biden say?
Yeah.
Dark winter, dark winter, dark winter.
Mm-hmm.
Well, last winter he wasn't really in charge until January 20th, right?
Yeah.
They're preparing for dark winter because the dark winter of 2020 was them scaring us with the boogeyman that was or could not be real. Okay. Oh, you could have. Let's fool the whole world to tell them you could be sick and have something with no symptoms.
Yeah.
That's how we'll get away with it. It's just so, It's such child's play once you really sit back and you're like, once you see the whole elaborate plan, it's just so disgusting.
You know, Satan is supposedly the father of all lies, right?
He is.
Okay. And does not scripture say that your life and your spirit and your connection to God is found in your blood?
Yeah.
Then why wouldn't Satan attack you via a vaccine? Fuck your blood up.
Yeah.
Take your connection away from God, Allah, whatever your higher power may be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
These are all devil consultants.
Yeah.
And it's all the elite. So like we said before, like instead of Amazon, you know, there's other alternatives. Instead of going on Google, go on DuckDuckGo. Instead of buying yourself, you know, buying things from Amazon, we have shop.com/rich. Right?
Yeah.
You can get nutraceuticals. We have immune products. We have nutraceuticals that are health specific to your gut, your health, your eyes, your heart, whatever it is, kid health. We have to take more responsibility.
And like, especially if we're heading into this dark winter and we need our immune system to do what it does at its best capabilities, how do we boost that? How do we get ready for this fight we may be having ahead, that our body might be having ahead? You know, it's stuff like this, right?
Right. Absolutely. Right. We have, and you know, definitely there's so many different things that you can do to get an optimal health but no, it's not going to be paid by these evil insurance companies. It's because Big Pharma is not going to give you what you really need. Big Pharma gets paid for you being sick.
Yeah.
That's it. If you're happy and healthy, you don't need Big Pharma. And they know that.
Isn't the Cleveland Clinic the largest employer in Ohio?
I don't know. But
well, think about what would happen if there was a cure for cancer. I mean, it would decimate that market.
Well, I'll tell you what.
You know,
when we get our real true Nuremberg trials and those corporate institutions fall, the ones like the 70,000, the max exodus of the nurses that left their high-paying job rather than defile their God's temple and their blood.
Yeah,
they're going to start their own.
Yeah.
Guess what? When we go to freedom fighter meetings, I have now a friend who works for the American Frontline Doctors. Matter of fact, Wednesday night in our freedom fighting meeting, Dr. Sherry Tenpenny, and his name is Coach Dave. He's a pastor. They're putting together a ChristianRevolution.net. And they want to get 1 million Americans to donate $100. So they'll have $100 million so that we can fight back. You lost your job. Here's an attorney. Here's an attorney. We're going to fight back. I've been to Linwood's house in South Carolina. He started Fight Back Law. He's not even taking on any more cases. He's like, I'm not taking on any cases. I'm helping you find someone to help you fight back. It's time. And so for the entire system to fall down, we have to have our Nuremberg trials. We need new courts because this is on the British Registrar. Our court systems are not American.
All the attorneys are registered with the British Accreditation Registry.
Yep. Thank you.
They're all agents of the Crown.
We need a new America.
Yeah.
So how do we create a new America? Well, we start with a new economy, right?
Yeah.
A business that is like Amazon, but instead of just Jeff Bezos flying to space and laughing at us.
Yeah, and a big dick.
And laughing at us. Instead, we the people have our own economy. We're getting products and services. Maybe you're getting toilet paper this week and I'm not, but it doesn't matter. We're all working together to put our money through this. And not only that, shop.com also pays cash back for customers. So when you're shopping different stores, they'll pay cash back. We need to keep as much money for ourselves and our families as we can, right? And take away money from who we can and pull together.
No, I get it. It's just getting everybody on board.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
they're coming though.
I have a hard time believing that liberty will come in a mass. in mass.
Yeah.
You know, I've always been of the opinion that it'll come individually with people that you mentioned that have their own driver's licenses, that have given public notice that they want to separate themselves from being assumed as the trustee to the United States, you know?
So if we have the average American who hasn't been paying attention
Mm-hmm.
and just woke up and just realized they have a reason to be pissed off. These are actionable steps, even if they just saw this video, things that they could do, right? Go to shop.com/rich, register as a customer for free, start pulling back, start watching, start finding out who do we have an American shoe company, who's got this, right? And start sharing that. And then by 2024, bring them to that point where we cancel an election.
Well, you know, I don't know. I hope so. You know, it's
At
like,
least it's a plan.
Yeah.
And no matter how awful of a plan, it can be carried out.
Yeah. What pisses me off with me and Brian
a good plan.
talk about on X22 is he's always saying, you know, people are waking up. Yet every day I go outside and go to work and I can hear my neighbors blasting CNN in the morning.
Okay, well, that's your one neighbor.
Right.
Maybe you need to knock on the door and talk to him.
You know, I will tell you this, Neil, and I mean, since we've been going over an hour, we can get ready to wrap up here a little bit. But I will tell you this: I had going to that event that I went to, that music festival. You know, and I've shared this on the show a couple times already. But what I saw was hope on the 20th anniversary of 9/11. You know, there's this festival full of drunken metalheads that have been tied up for over a year and a half that wanted to get out and enjoy music, and people were drinking and getting crazy and rowdy, and it was a weekend for everybody to let loose. But when they came on that stage and they put on the screen, you know, never forget, and they said, we'd like to take a moment of silence for all those we lost on September 11th. You could hear a pin drop. Thousands and thousands of drunken, crazy metalheads, Americans, some of them wearing masks, some of them not. It was their choice, whatever. A lot of them probably vaxxed and had their card, whatever. That was their choice too. But everybody shut the fuck up. They stood there and they honored the memories of those lost. Then a young lady came out, sung the national anthem. Everybody took their hats off. People hand on their heart. I saw thousands of people that the media would deceive me into believing that we're the minority. I saw thousands of people standing there. Tears were rolling down my face. I was so touched. I was like, there is hope out here.
Yes.
There's more of us than there are of them. I have to believe that because I witnessed that. I know the trouble is that we run into a lot is when we isolate, all we do is like watch these videos. And we don't know what's out there in the real world until we get out there and get to witness it. And yeah, we have certain neighbors and there's certain, you know, we have a lot of people. Hey man, I roll with people, whatever, that their views don't align with mine. But I think the flag still means something to the majority of the people in this country. Still means a lot. So I think there's more of us, and they want us to believe that we're lost. That's everything's given up. They want us in fear instead of faith. I didn't even read that article that I had just found about the hideous truth is that diabolical narcissists, sociopaths, psychopaths have no interest in repentance, reform, or apologies. They define themselves by, and their entire warped psycho-spiritual existence revolves around the notion that they are superior, a separate caste distinct from and above other humans. They are the elite. They are the Navo aristocracy. One of the main ways that this psycho-spiritual psychosis expresses itself is in terms of the law and the rule of the law. Hence, the wildly disproportionate numbers of these demonics in government. Have you noticed that further a government descends into tyranny and evil, the thicker and thicker the code of statutes become? And on the surface, one would think that flagrant lawbreakers in position of power would tend toward anarchy, removing the roadblocks from the law that might jeopardize or imperil them as they pursue ever increasing levels of power through criminal activity. This is exactly wrong. Because they define themselves as elite, they need a metric against which to measure and quantify their
eliteness. That metric is the law, specifically the extent to which the law does not apply to them.
Yeah, laws for thee, not for.
Exactly. And that they actually get off on getting away
doing
with
what they're doing.
And for you to give up.
Yeah.
So don't you ever give up. If you need to come out anywhere on Wednesday or a Thursday or a Sunday, you just get a hold of me and I know who's going where and what they're doing. And even if it's just once a week, find once a week, either it's Wednesday night or Thursday night or a Sunday. And when you go, it's just like, I had never been to the one in very far away.
Medina?
But no, I went to one, I was going to say Canton.
Okay.
It's very far.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I'm just going to go. And I went and I was like, wow, it was in a library. There's this beautiful restaurant called Mulligan's. They have like this stately elite library, you know, and they're letting us have the room for free to talk to people. And there was a man who has this machine and he is making the Declaration of Independence in life size made out of wood for heirlooms for like $1,000. Like it's just all of this. And that's where I got that information from that guy. And that's how we defeat him.
So I would really like to, I know Sherry Tenpenny. I was good friends with her husband.
Oh, wonderful.
And he went to the law classes that I attended for years. Yeah. So I'd like to go to one of these things. I think you went to one a while ago, but I was working nights at the time.
Yeah.
On a Wednesday or a Thursday.
Yeah, we'll go.
Okay.
Wednesday
I would like to.
Let me know.
But is it in Medina?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's one in Medina on Wednesday. I didn't really want to stay on
yeah,
you know, whatever. Sure. But one there, and then Thursday there's one in Canton, and there's all different places.
I don't know about Canton.
Yeah, I ain't making
Canton's a tough one for me. I mean,
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Tomorrow night they're having a
before we blow everybody's operational security and stuff though live on air. We will discuss this afterwards. But we've been on over an hour. I say before we wrap up, we started talking about the soft Holocaust.
Yes.
What do you guys feel that people need to do to try and stay healthy and avoid being a victim in this soft Holocaust? Or what advice can we give our listeners before we get off there here?
I think like we said, pull back your money from the corporations that are not doing right by America. Find a freedom fighter group in your area so you have fellowship, so you're not isolated, so you're empowered, so they're giving you ways to fight. Because that's the whole thing. Is even I never in my life, if you would have told me, hey, RaNae, you're going to learn how to write affidavits yourself. What? No, here we are. But thank God, like it is so
well, the mastermind principle is real.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so when there's two or more,
yes.
Jesus said, when there's two or more come together in my name,
yes.
nothing can,
Yes.
So, I do agree with that, but man, it's
we're not going to save them all.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But guess what?
Yeah.
Once they see we're going there,
and
we're heading to victory, a lot are going to turn around.
Yeah.
And are we going to save them all? No.
No.
But
no, some of them have already made the choice, and that was their choice, and we have to be good with it. I love ones that made the choice to do what they did, and I have to be at peace with that.
And unfortunately, we may even lose all those people.
Sure.
Yeah.
And what's left?
Pure bloods.
Pure bloods. Exactly. Exactly. I'm so glad. I call it royal blood.
Yeah.
Because it's God.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that was a good episode. Ready to wrap this one up.
Boondoggle.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Hope you stay with us the whole time.
And don't forget to go to shop.com/rich and register today.
Okay.
Take back your power.
Amen.
That's right. I got to set up my affiliate. So
yes.
some people
we'll do that now.
All right.